The latest playoff rankings have dropped. Where does the Big Ten stand? Could they really get 4 teams in the playoff? Don't rule it out, and we make our picks for rivalry week on today's Locked On Big Ten Squad.
You're talking ball with the Big Ten Squad, sponsored by Game Time. From USC to Ohio State, from Michigan to Oregon, from Nebraska to Washington, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big Ten weekend. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up, you're part of the Big Ten Squad.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to this week's Locked On Big Ten Squad. I'm Spencer McLaughlin, your host. Roman Tomashoff is here. He's there in the backseat of his car because of a power outage.
Front seat.
Look at the dedication from our Locked On Huskies host. Jacob Goins of Locked On Hoosiers is here. Zach Anderson-Yoxheimer of Locked On UCLA has showed up despite his Bruins not doing that on the football field recently. Remember when Tim Skipper and Jerry Neuheisel were a wagon? I remember those days. That was like 5 weeks ago. Craig Shemon at Locked On Big Ten. Nick Arvin at Locked On Purdue. Roman, I'll start with you, even though because of the Wisconsin Badgers of all teams, Washington isn't fighting for a playoff spot this week. They're trying to play spoiler against Oregon, but let's talk big picture. Do you see a path here with the committee's latest rankings for the Big Ten to get 4 teams into the playoff?
Oh, absolutely. There's certainly a path here where the biggest thing I think that it involves is, as much as I want to sit here and say it's an Oregon loss, as I see that horrendous shirt and equally ugly pillow that you have behind you. Thank God we haven't seen the other one.
I don't have the pillow today. That's just a banner.
That is the best news I've heard all day. And as all our everydayers can see out there, been a pretty crappy day so far. But I think that the most important thing to get 4 teams into the playoff this weekend is a Michigan win. Because without that, I think that it's kind of out the window at this point in time.
Goins, I don't think we're ever going to rule out Michigan beating Ohio State again, right? Because last year they did it as a 22.5-point dog on the road. So is that the only path that you see to getting 4 teams in?
I think so, but even with that, I still don't feel confident in 4 teams getting in. I think there's a more popular, or I guess more of a better chance that 3 teams get in and Michigan over Oregon rather than both of them getting in, because of chaos in college football, right? Could it work out that Michigan beats Ohio State? There's a path for them to get to the Big Ten championship game. Oregon would be left out, and maybe the Ducks get left out altogether and Michigan takes that spot from them. I don't know. I just think there's a possibility there. I just don't love the odds of the Big Ten getting 4 teams in, but I know one that's getting it. Well, I guess I know 2, but at least the Indiana Hoosiers, we're getting in regardless. It doesn't matter what happens this weekend.
Yeah, even if you lose to Purdue, you could still get in.
That's how bad Purdue is, but we could lose and still get in.
Super likely, right, Nick? I mean, the Boilermakers, they're on the train.
I mean, we're struggling. We're certainly struggling. But, hey, we look forward to this game every single year. Even if we were 0-11, we still have this game against Indiana. Well, 2-9, 0-11. Yeah. No conference wins for us yet. But
remember when Purdue was 2-0 and we thought, you know what? Maybe they've got the confidence now that they've beaten Middle McNeese Tennessee Technical Institute. But
I mean, they didn't even look bad against USC. They were in that game. And then it was like after USC, they lost a couple close games against Northwestern and Minnesota. And then everything just kind of came off the tracks, so to speak. They lost their confidence. And now we are at 2 in 9 and no conference wins.
Nick, are you telling me that was an accidental pun, not an intentional one? Because if it wasn't intentional, what are you doing on this show?
I don't know.
Me neither.
I'm just surprised that when Nick said no conference wins yet, Jacob didn't just jump down his throat for that.
I missed that.
Yeah, he's just completely phased out. Zach, I want to throw to you what Jacob suggested. If Oregon were to lose to Washington on Saturday, they're 10-2. Michigan's 10-2 with a win over Ohio State. With Oregon jumping Ole Miss because USC remains inside the top 20, do you think that could lead to Oregon missing the playoff, or you think they would both get in?
I mean, that could be something. The other thing that we're not talking about is what if Lane Kiffin leaves Ole Miss, right? Could Ole Miss get left out as a one-loss team, two-loss team if that happens after the Egg Bowl next week, if there's that chaos? And the committee hasn't really adjusted for Miami beating Notre Dame earlier this year. And if they're going to keep giving Notre Dame love, it seems like if Oregon loses to Washington and Notre Dame leapfrogs Oregon, maybe you get Miami in there. But that doesn't really make a lot of sense with how the rankings have gone. I think Oregon's pretty safe to be in, either win or lose.
If you wanted to create the world's worst scenario for Oregon fans, lose to Washington and miss the playoff because Mario Cristobal is 10-2. That would be. I might retire. I might just quit the network. And be like, guys, I'm out on this one. But yeah, I don't think anyone should want to be in what is a looming 10-2 pileup, Craig. Because man, who can't go 10-2 is kind of what it feels like.
Well, I've always had the philosophy that the committee not only makes its rankings every week, I think they massage the scenarios because they're always playing 2 weeks ahead. And I think they realized a couple of weeks ago there was a chance. There was a chance that the Big Ten will only have 2 teams in, and that's just ridiculous, right? So, look, they moved Oregon up 1. I think that does bode well for Oregon if they should lose to Washington in a close game. But I've been saying forever, for about a month, I think the path was there for Michigan to run the table since the USC loss, beat number 1 Ohio State, and get in. Now, I expected Michigan to be moved up 2 spots from 18 to 16 because USC lost, because Virginia Tech lost. The fact that they moved them up 3 spots to give them a shorter runway, should they beat Ohio State, they absolutely are going to put them in like the top 10, and they're going to be a playoff team.
Just so everyone knows what we're talking about, the Lane Kiffin discussion is fascinating because losing in Starkville to Mississippi State is not unrealistic if he's got 1 foot out the door. The Bulldogs are the best, what are they, 3-win team, 3-4 win team at this point? Like, they're one of the better 3-4 win teams. It would mean a lot to Jeff Levy and company, but realistically, here are the teams that could wind up at 10-2. I'm not counting Texas Tech and BYU because they're playing teams that they're going to absolutely throttle this week. Roman lost the light in his car.
This is awesome. I love this.
That was car battery dead.
There we
Roman,
go.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Does Roman look like he's in the back of a limo, like he's in an episode of Ballers or something?
I wish that were the case, Craig. I would be so much happier if that
Roman,
were the case.
what kind of car is that?
This is a Hyundai Elantra.
That's basically a limo.
I don't think they sponsor us. We probably shouldn't have shouted them out.
You're so far back, you look like Shaq sitting in the back seat. You have the front seat steering wheel.
I don't think Roman's 7'2".
6'6", and that's why I'm doing this.
Yeah. Anyway, the teams that realistically could wind up at 10-2, just that it's possible. Georgia, Oregon, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Alabama, Miami, Utah, Vanderbilt, Michigan, Virginia. They can't all get in. Like 10-win teams are getting left out of this playoff, right?
And there's another element. We were supposed to have a playoff format set December 1st for 2026 and beyond. This is going to open the door for them to expand this thing to 24 teams, which is ridiculous.
You're right.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Craig, why'd you have to make that good point? I was having a good day today.
January 23rd.
Roman's going through hell with no power over there. I was in a great mood. Yeah, so rivalry week is indeed right around the corner. So we're going to make our picks for all the big games in the Big Ten coming up next on the Locked On Big Ten Squad. First, this episode brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. So all the games we're about to talk about are available over at FanDuel. If you think you know how rivalry week is playing out, and you know what? I'm generally a guy that says take the points in the rivalry game, but they can't cover every time. Finding those underdogs that can't get it done in a rivalry spot, it can be difficult. If you think you know how to do it, FanDuel is the place to go. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet win. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, let's get into our picks and start with the big one. The game, Ohio
Spencer,
State.
can I hijack this for 30 seconds? Can we
go ahead.
Can we just
Just like
talk
you
about
did
the
that
Oregon
car you're
Washington
sitting
game?
in? Yeah, go for it.
Can we talk about the Oregon Washington game first so my car battery doesn't die? I want all our everydayers to know that I am dedicated to talking about this game, and I am not ducking any smoke this week when it comes to the
Ducking,
matchup
you say?
between our two teams.
That's good.
Goins is on a heater right now. That's more what
That-
I'm
that
here
was-
for
that was a
at
good
the
one.
moment.
I'm mad at myself for that one.
Goins is rolling. You know what? You make a fair point. So, Oregon, Washington. Let's hash it out, Roman. How many points is Washington losing by?
At the beginning of the season, I did pick Washington to lose this game for all the Oregon fans.
You made a
in the comment
pick
section.
on a game? Pfft,
I
never
made
heard
a
that before.
I made a preseason prediction. It's very different, sir.
Okay.
No, this is a game that the spread, according to our good fans over FanDuel right now, is 6.5 points in favor of Oregon. I do legitimately believe that Washington can cover that spread. I look at some of the injuries that the Huskies have suffered over the last couple of weeks. Jonah Coleman's going to be back close to full strength this week. Denzel Boston's going to be back as close to full strength as possible. Looks like right tackle Drew Party might be back as well. And this is a team that, yeah, they've beaten up on bad teams over the last couple of weeks, but it's very clear. Oh, now Spencer's gone. Okay. He's wow.
All
Wow.
right.
I didn't know.
Now
that
Zach
is
is
the-
gone.
Yeah, this is the last thing I expected from all this. That I am the one whose internet and audio and everything are fine. But
Who's
no,
flying this airplane right now?
this is an absolute train wreck.
It's a disaster.
Where'd you go?
I didn't go anywhere. I just sat here. I didn't touch anything. I didn't hit anything. I didn't spill anything. My camera was just like, peace, guys. I need a break. Like, you've been
Zach's
working
too.
so hard.
Zach's too. You're not
Yeah,
alone.
Zach's out. Zach.
But no, I do. Oh, now Spencer's muted. This is just tremendous. This show is the train wreck of all train wrecks.
We are so good at this.
Cut the tape, man. Rip it out. Restart.
I love everything.
No,
about
keep it
where this
rolling.
is going.
Keep it rolling.
But no, I
It's
think that
Thanksgiving.
Washington
Let's roll.
absolutely has the talent and the physicality to be able to stay in this game on both sides of the ball. Washington has not allowed over 25 points in a game this season. The last time that happened was when they won the national championship in 1991. So credit to Ryan Walters.
You mean a
credit to
co-national championship with Michigan,
won
right?
the national championship in 1991.
Were they the only
beat-
team that won it that year?
No, they weren't, but you got
Okay.
the team wrong. You got the team wrong, so
Oh,
your
s-
point is invalid.
Okay. No, my point stands. I was just
No, your
looking for
point
a
is
no
invalid.
as to were they the only team that won it that year?
Oh, but they won 4 out of 5, so it really is Miami that shares the national championship.
Miami.
Washington.
Okay. Gotcha.
But I really do believe that Washington absolutely has all the talent necessary to stick in this game and really compete in this game, as much as Oregon fans might not want to give them credit for that. And I'm really excited to see what this is going to look like.
I'm trying to decide which angle of my personality I should let come out right now. Because so far, it's been the Big Ten squad hosting trollery. And I got to tell you, that's a fun guy. That's a good hang.
You're just not a natural troll already.
No.
Can
you hang around-
Can I make a comment?
That was good.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Craig. I got some thinking to do.
I got so when this squad show posts every week on all of our channels, I got a comment on Lockdown Big Ten about 2 weeks ago, and it pointed toward the how shall I say this, the wisecrackingness of Spencer compared, because I watch Spencer all the time. He's so professional on Locked On Ducks and Locked On College Football and the 8 other podcasts you do every day. But on this show, he's just a wise rear end. I don't know
A wise what, Greg? A wise what? Say it. Say it.
Push the limits of the FCC. You make a valid point there, Craig. You make a valid point. There's something about this group and this show that just brings out the absolute worst in me. And sometimes I get a real kick out of it.
You meant best.
I gotta say. Well, it's
No,
a
he meant
matter of
worst.
perspective. Okay, quick show of hands. Who would say it's the best part of me. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
the
There
only
we
one I really know.
There we go. There we go. That's a majority. That's a majority. There are 5 others to vote. That's quorum, and I've got a majority. So that measure passes. Anyway, on this particular game, I will just slide in. There is 100% a world in which Oregon loses this football game. That world absolutely exists. What I wonder about is whether or not Washington has improved up front to allow fewer than 10 sacks. And I know that's a bingo. That's a bingo, Roman.
That's
I know
that's an Oregon. That's
Yep.
an Oregon bingo.
I know
yeah.
I know it's on the bingo card, but can we talk about how that might have impacted last year's game? It might have,
just
right?
just a little bit. Maybe.
It's entirely possible. Quick show of hands. Who thinks 10 sacks in a game is a lot? Okay, good. Zach, I'm surprised you raised your hand. You're probably used to seeing it by now. But
The Raiders, against the Browns.
Yeah, it did.
very good. I think this game should have been just a little bit bigger, if not for those pesky Wisconsin Badgers. Am I right? Like, what?
That was unnecessary.
It was completely unnecessary and uncalled for, and this is all getting left in the show, so you just have to deal with it.
Oh, there he goes. That's phenomenal, by the way.
What are we going to do?
I don't know.
Without
I'm going to talk
Spencer.
while he's gone. I agree with Spencer in that idea, though, that I was hoping this game would be bigger. And Roman, I know you've talked about this every single day, just how disappointing this season has been for Washington. Yes, it's still been good, but I was talking dark horse college football playoff for Washington to start the season, and that just hasn't come to fruition.
So I think that it's all disappointing, though, because of that one particular game, though, right? Because you look at if you take out the Wisconsin game, you flip that 3 points from a loss into a win, all of a sudden they're 9-2 and they're ranked, 15, 16, 17 at this point in time going into this game? Because Craig mentioned Michigan gets that little bit of an extra runway to get up, and then all of a sudden with a win against Oregon, they're in. I feel like that exact same thing happens for Washington. I don't think that necessarily you can call the season as a whole disappointing. I'm just hinging on one particular point there, or one particular word you say there, Jacob. I don't think that your point as a whole is invalid, because it absolutely is disappointing to see that, right? But you look at this season as a whole, and you look at how many members of Washington's just starting roster as a whole are underclassmen, and how this season as a whole has gotten. You're over the FanDuel win total from the preseason, which was set at 7.5. And I think that from the improvements you've seen from not just, DeMond Williams, but like I said, talking about the defense, talking about some of these young guys up front where you've got 2 freshmen starting, and a true freshman in John Mills, and a redshirt freshman in Pocky Finau, and now you got a third guy rotating in, Champ Leah, and how Washington has progressed throughout the year has been really promising in the second year under Jed Fish.
Roman, get out of here with your facts.
Spencer,
Oregon fans don't like him. I know that.
Spencer, before technology throws you out of here again,
Yes.
do you have a pick for Oregon, Washington? Like, are you obviously you're going to pick Oregon, but tell
Yeah,
us
no,
why it didn't happen.
I do. I wanted to touch on the disappointing aspect, Roman, because I agree with the sentiment that once you have a chance to look back, even if Washington loses on Saturday, like, this has been a good year. It's the step forward that you were looking for that he had at Arizona. Disappointing will be when Florida head coach Jed Fish is made finalized for the 2026 season. That
would crush me. And on that note, I'm going to make sure my car battery doesn't die. So with that being said, go Dogs. I can't hear much more of that.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later.
Wow.
Which I actually will. No, I'll put on my serious hat for a moment. Like, Washington has my full attention in this game, without question. Do I think Oregon is a better team? Yes. I have thought that before. Oregon has been favored before. They've been favored at home. They've been favored on a neutral site by more points than they're currently favored then. I think it is completely reasonable Oregon could lose the game. I think Oregon has to make the sorts of mistakes they did last week against USC for that to really happen. I think that Oregon's defense played better than some of the numbers would lead you to believe. And I think Oregon's offense showed when it's not in like a literal rainstorm or torrential downpour, it is really good despite the number of injuries they've had. If they get either De'Corian Moore or Gary Bryant back on offense, that would be a boon to that side of the ball. But even if they don't, they just put up 42 against USC in a game where I think they made some serious mistakes. So, Craig, that comment you brought up is going to stick with me way too hard for way too long because I know exactly what you're talking about. Anyway, so Nick's been waiting patiently to weigh in. I know you're dying to weigh in on Oregon, Washington. Hit us with your thoughts there, Nick.
Yes, of course. So I do like Oregon in this one. I think that they have enough motivation. And I mean, by all means, Washington could absolutely win this game. I wouldn't be surprised if they did at home, but I just think the way that Oregon has been playing. Now, if Oregon does lose this game, I don't think that they're out of the playoffs. I think that they still have built up good enough of a resume that they get in, that they get in regardless, win or lose, as long as they don't go into Washington and just look terrible, right? So I think that Oregon gets in either way, but I think that Dante Moore and the Ducks are going to be more than prepared to go into this matchup and to get a win on rivalry week.
Before we get to the game, and we'll break that down in the third segment, just a couple of other rivalry notes. Indiana is going to beat Purdue by a lot. I'm sorry, Nick.
But not by 28 and a half.
I think they'll cover.
I'm not taking Indiana 28 and a half either.
Can I jump in? Because, Nick, you know, I'm an Indiana grad, too. I'm just going to point this out. So, last year, Indiana 66-0. Indiana's better this year than last year. I'm just going to let that breathe.
Understand that, but also it was in Bloomington last year. And last year, that Ryan Walters team, they just laid down. They weren't competitive. They didn't want to be there. They gave up. Even though this Barry Odom team only has one more win and no more conference wins, there's still more fight in this team. And that's not me trying to be biased or anything. There genuinely is more fight in this team than there was last year. 28 and a half at home when it's going to be 20 degrees outside. I think it's a big spread. I do think that Purdue will cover. I don't think they'll win that game by any stretch of the imagination, but I could see it being a close first half.
Purdue loses by 40.
I disagree.
Thank you.
I disagree.
Yeah, Indiana.
I don't know how many of Indiana's starters will play and how much they'll play in this game. A guy like Elijah Surratt hasn't played in 2 weeks. I don't know if he plays in this game. How much does Indiana's defense play in this game? I don't know. Indiana's going to win. I'm not worried about that, but I don't know. I mean, you don't have to go out and just put your best performance on against Purdue in the finale on a Black Friday night. You just don't have to do it. You'll be fine.
Another thing I want to point out in the Big Ten slate. Do you realize that the winner of Penn State and Rutgers goes to a bowl game? How is that not game day this week?
That's right.
What are they're going to Ann Arbor? We're going to talk about we're going to talk about that game next. First, this episode brought to you by our friends at Omaha Steaks. The holidays always feel a little easier when you already know the perfect gift, and Omaha Steaks makes it almost too simple. Whether you're treating yourself this season or sending something memorable to family and friends, Omaha Steaks delivers handcrafted perfection right to their door. And this week is the best time to jump in because their cyber sale is here and the deals are huge. The quality in these steaks is what you are looking for, and I'm a guy that loves a good, properly cooked steak. But that all starts with having quality meat. And if you want that, Omaha Steaks is exactly where you want to go. They are tender, rich in flavor, and they will make hosting or just cooking an ordinary meal exactly what you want to have. Save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites during their cyber sale. And for an additional $35 off, use promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code COLLEGE. Terms apply. See site for details. Check out Omaha Steaks for the holidays today. All right, let's talk about the only other matchup in the Big Ten this week that is, shall we say, enticing. Not that USC and UCLA isn't a fun rivalry and all, but you know, Zach isn't even here. There have been more technical issues in this Locked On Big Ten squad than I could ever remember. I've just been sitting here doing nothing, and my camera's just like, see you guys.
And what's great is it's all going to stay in. No editing will be done.
No editing.
That's
Absolutely none. We just say, just Bill O'Reilly. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. It's one of the greatest broadcast moments ever. He's throwing the pen. He's swearing at a teleprompter.
And then he nails it. He absolutely
He just crushes it. Yeah. That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. Thanks for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away. It's unbelievable. Anyway, so Ohio State Michigan. I cannot, after last year, ever rule out the possibility of Michigan finding a way to win this game, even though on paper, Ohio State's a better team. They are more talented. They've played better football throughout the course of this entire season. Of course, they haven't lost the game just yet. Goins, give me your pick.
Look, I think the narrative of the game is what it is. You can't overlook any team, no matter how good, how bad they are. That's most rivalries, but not all. But this one in particular, and I find myself sitting here again saying, "Man, Ohio State's just so good. Their defense is the best in the country, just above Indiana's." I mean, it ain't no way that Michigan can win this game. I don't trust Bryce Underwood at quarterback in this game. I think Ohio State's going to get absolutely after him, and I don't think that Ohio State can be stopped when they put their foot on the gas offensively. But yet, isn't that what we've been saying about this game? And so, look, I think Michigan keeps it close. What's the spread now? Last time I looked,
9.5 in favor of the Buckeyes in Ann Arbor.
I think that's too much. Vegas may know something that we don't, but I'll take Michigan to cover because of the game itself. But Ohio State's the best team in the country right now until they play Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. So I'll take the Buckeyes to win, but they're not going to cover.
Craig, I know we're not talking about the hottest team in the Big Ten, the Wisconsin Badgers, but Michigan, Ohio State, who you got?
Listen, I'm going to take a different angle here. Ryan Day gets so uptight for this game every single year. And here's another thing. Yeah. This Ohio State team has been untested since the Texas game in week 1. And look, Texas didn't turn out to be all that. And I'm not even sure Ohio State knew what they were in week 1. So it was a 14-7 game.
Texas had a gritty win at Kentucky, Craig. Come on. Don't discount the Longhorns. They gutted it out against Mississippi State, who's 5-6.
That's all true. But in the meantime, Ohio State has not had anybody come within 18 points of them. They've not been in a close game on the road in a tough environment all season. They're untested when it comes to that. That includes Julian saying it's going to be a madhouse there. And the longer that game stays closer, they're going to get tighter and tighter there on Ohio State's sideline, especially with Ryan Day. And I kind of like Michigan on this. Now, I know the wide receivers have been banged up, Tate and Smith for Ohio State. I think they'll be fine. I think they were just resting them one more week. Same thing with the running backs at Michigan. I think Jordan Marshall's going to be back in the lineup. They won't have Justice Haynes. But I think it's going to come down to Michigan's running game and Ohio State's ability to throw the ball. There is going to be a little bit of snow. It's going to be cold. And they forgot their passing game last year. That's why they lost 13-10. They wanted to go toe-to-toe on the ground. But I like Michigan to keep this one inside the number for sure and maybe put up an upset and get into the college football playoffs.
The more time goes on, the crazier that game becomes.
Yeah.
When you think about Ohio State lined up and went, wait a minute, we've got NFL receivers everywhere and a veteran quarterback. Maybe we should just throw on everyone and no one will stop us. And then they won the national championship. But Michigan was so in their heads, let's out physical them.
Yeah.
Let's beat them at their own game. And then lost on their home field. So I don't think Ohio State does that. Take the points in a rivalry game when it's that big because it's in Ann Arbor as well. I got 27-23. Ohio State wins. Nick, how about you?
Yeah, I think the big house is going to be a big factor in this game. I'm not going to take Michigan. Sharon Moore has talked all week long about Bryce Underwood and about how he's composed. I don't agree, and I know that's his head coach, so he kind of has to say that. But I don't think that Bryce Underwood is going to be able to survive, although it is at home against this Ohio State defensive front. I just think that he's going to be running for his life at a lot of points in this game. I don't know if Michigan's going to be able to string together enough drives to be able to compete with that high-powered offense with Julian Sayin throwing it around the big house. So with that being said, I do think that Michigan will keep it competitive because this game always seems to be competitive. These two teams prepare all year long for this game. So I'm not trying to say that Michigan's going to go in at home and just get beat really bad, but I do think that Ohio State is talented enough. I think it's time for them to finally get this monkey off their back. I think it's time for them to get a win, and I do think that they will actually cover the spread. Although not a blowout, I think that they will cover the, give me just a sec, it's 9.5. I think that they'll win by probably 11-ish, right above that cover range. I'll call it 31-20, Ohio State.
Just a couple fun notes to end this one. Michigan State, 0-8 in Big Ten play, is a 3.5-point favorite at home against Maryland, going for their fourth win of the year and their first since week 3. Nebraska plays Iowa on Friday. The Cornhuskers currently have 7 wins and unfortunately lost Dylan Raiola for the year. Anybody know what Nebraska's win total was prior to this season?
Please tell me 7.5.
It was 7.5.
Incredible. They're going to get destroyed in that Iowa game. That's going to be really bad. That is going to be. Latif did not look good the other night. Now, granted, he doesn't have a ton around him, I understand, but still.
It's so bad. Goins is praising Iowa. Jacob Goins, Locked On Hoosiers. Craig Shemon, Locked On Big Ten. Nick Garvin, Locked On Purdue. We had Roman Tomashoff of Locked On Huskies and Zach Anderson Yoxheimer of Locked On UCLA. I'm Spencer McLaughlin from Locked On all over the place. We'll see you next time. And until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.